continuing with where we were from last time, just to be a continuum. The last topic was spirituality, the spiritual path, and communication. And this time, we're still going off of the path, the spiritual path. And if you guys watched the video, one of them was essentially the path of a man named Sadhguru and his enlightening, process to be where he got, where he is now. And the other video was by Tony Robbins, why we do what we do. So also, in addition to this, we're going to talk about purpose and kind of where we are. But does anyone really want to share any insights that they've had since then about anything? They want to put into to start off on?
Sadhguru mentioned that there is he found out what is like myself and what is separating myself from others. And what is separating, what is that border which separates myself from others?
Let's try our best when one person's talking, to have it absolutely sound. That way people
he tries to know what is separating himself from the environment, which includes other people, like the nature, everything. So one day he went to the hill and he sat there, and there he felt that the boundaries have vanished. Like there is no me and there is no other anything else. And I think that point we touched when we were in the last session, I recall. And one more thing mentioned that the skin, I think the skin is the one which separates what we feel is us and what is the outside world. Because here we feel something. So if we try to extend this boundary to maybe this house, then if somebody is feeling some pain, then we can also feel that pain. Like he just talked about pushing those boundaries. That's what I've understood.
Yeah.
Like it's difficult to understand it logically, but somewhere it makes sense.
Did he say that if you extend the boundaries, you will feel what other people are doing?
Yeah, he somewhat said that. Like, I'm not using the exact words, but somewhat it meant like that.
It was something to the extent of, you're not distinct from anything else, but you think you are, because your skin acts like a boundary. So if you're feeling, I don't know what's going on down there, because my sensation ends right here.
Right.
But if you can become more aware, then you can kind of think of it like everything is one.
And he also said that if you are able to go into that state, then he doesn't have to tell you to love others, accept others, care for others, serve others.
That it just happens, like that, once you're there, that you just give to others, that you are just, you're already giving, you're already loving, you're already accepting, like it, by being at that point.
Yeah.
What I mean, what I had a hard time understanding from him is although it made sense, because with any of our meditation, we feel that 20 minutes is or we feel 20 minutes, or days or hours is short, 20 minutes. That's what I meant. But he was talking about 13 days, and he felt like it was a half hour. That's what I understand it to an extent, but how do you get to that point? He didn't really explain, he just said that he went and that's what happened. He didn't really explain, how he was able to bring his awareness, how he was able to get that deep of a meditation, that he was able to stay there for 13 days. Like I said, I understand the point, of time like being distorted through meditation, but like not that long.
You mentioned, right, that happened spontaneously.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
you
like
get
the
it.
first time, it was not that long. The first time it was, you thought it was hours and it was days, and then the next time it was a spontaneous thing, and then like when he became aware, like everybody was surrounding him and touching his feet and like yeah, getting blessings and like, but like
You know,
it didn't.
like, it's really interesting, but like, for purpose of our discussion, like a technique or like how to do what someone else
It's
did.
going
It's
off
just
topic,
not real.
yeah.
Well, it's not going off topic. It's just.
But isn't that
it's
a
not
pathway to spirituality? That's
Right.
where I was going with it. Like it was like because
how to be able to.
yeah, because
Yeah.
spirituality, and that was my point. Like that was what I was starting with. Is because that's what I was saying. I wanted to start is because it was more of a question, and then my definition of spirituality is it's changed over time, and like. And it can be still different for everybody, obviously, that's why we're doing this, is to give our different perspectives. But, like, spirituality for me, like, it started off in church. Like, it started off that was my spirituality, was only through church. And, like, and then, like, it's changed, it's evolved that, like, I feel spiritual without church. Like, it was that I was only spiritual when I was going to church. And, like, that was my spiritual day, Sunday, to go to good. Like, and that, like, while you're praying, while the whole mass is going on, that's your spirituality. Now, like, I feel that I'm more spiritual than when I was going to church all the time. And I feel that my spirituality is evolved to just my connection to God, to my Lord and Savior Jesus, and I don't feel. I think that even like I've changed so much that I think that church kind of interferes with that, like because because I feel that. Not that it interferes because it gives you a path to get to that and shows you like what it can be like, but people believe like I felt like that you need to go to church on Sunday and that's your spiritual thing. Like you don't need to worry about during the week because you go to church on Sunday and that's like your spiritual day. So like I said, I think that's totally because that was my view, and it still is for many. Like, I think that church hinders, and like any religion, because like it doesn't hinder, but like it maybe slows the progression of spirituality. Like it's slow. It gives you away and slows you at the same time because you think that's enough. Or they're satisfying because you're told that that's what you give that day, the day for your Lord. Like, so why would you? You don't think that even, but like I feel better now. I think, like I said, my spirituality is greater. Like I have a greater connection with God, with my Lord and Savior. Like I feel more knowledge comes from him. Like I'm open to receive more than I've ever been. Like I've always relied on my spirituality in times of crisis and times of need. But now like I feel that I can just like give and talk and have a open like day-to-day our gratitude, like all that. I think that is spirituality. I think everything that you're alive for, everything that you give thanks for, is your spirituality. That's what is my ultimate definition, I guess. It's like everything that you do in life is your spirituality. You just have to recognize that it is your spirituality, that is your connection with God. That is what your life is. Your life is your spirituality. And that's why I think that I don't know what else to say.
I agree, and I think that you can enhance that spirituality by the choices that you make each and every day. And I think that anybody's approach to, if they approach any kind of church or religion with an attitude of, oh, it's just this day at this time, then that religion will fail them every single time, because it's not turning them, it's not changing them from the inside out. It's just this external thing that they go to when they come home from. But you've experienced like a change of heart where it's now, spirituality is like a living, essential thing that you understand day to day. I think one of the things that I gained since last time that we met was a couple days ago, I spent like an hour in silence, in appreciation. And a lot of times I'll let myself fall asleep with distracted thoughts, or I'll just like study until I'm tired and go to bed, or I'll look at my phone and watch YouTube videos or something until my eyes are tired, and then I just like, I'm out, right? Yesterday and the day before, I decided to just put my phone aside and put my studies aside, and just to like fall asleep the right way, you know? And so an hour before going to bed, I just was in silence, and I just felt gratitude, so much gratitude in my heart for life, and for spirituality, and for the spiritual journey. And it was sweet. It was a good renewing, refreshing experience.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
I think sort of adding to the church thing, because I wasn't here last week, so in a sense I was, because we're all connected. And I think that, you know, my spiritual journey has taken me to the church. And I think seeing that as, you know, I just recently got baptized, and the euphoria of all of that, and the interconnectedness, and my spiritual exploration, it sort of started to become like I was just going through the motions, and it was just something that you did because that's what you do on Sunday, and you know, this is what the church does and everything. And so I had to like physically step back and say, okay, wait, you know, like that's not why I'm here. I'm here because the journey's brought me here. It's been very much so an exploring of spirituality, and I don't want to feel like I'm just going through the motions, which is, you know, how most people are, but because, you know, most of the world is, you know, literally trapped in thought, and, you know, they just walk around like they have these blinders, and I don't know how to describe it, and so I really kind of stepped back and centered myself, and then, you know, looked at the beauty of the energy, and, you know, Bryce has described this as well, like, when you're in church, just that collective energy, and the intention of the people there, there's power in that, and I think that's why I go, and that's sort of what pulled me to go there, because it just resonates on a much deeper level. Yeah, so that's how I've changed since last week.
I have a question for you guys.
Oh, yeah.
Do you think that we could say anything is good or bad? Like, take religion for example. Like, do you think we can define it as good or bad?
So nothing, no, because nothing is not, there's a Shakespeare quote, nothing is neither good nor bad, but thinking makes it so. It's all about your perspective. So what you consider good, somebody else will consider bad. Does that mean you're right and they're wrong? No. Does that mean they're right and you're wrong? No. It means that it's all about your intention, the way you come toward it.
The level of sincerity.
If you're very religious and somebody isn't, are you a better person than them? Not necessarily. It all depends on how you live. It depends on your perspective. Even total speeches.
You know, one more question. What do you think awareness does in terms of our perspective of a thing? Like, how will we even communicate about what awareness is and how it influences us in our decision defining of different aspects from the perspective we're in?
Makes you present. And if you're fully present, you can comment on whatever that thing is fully. It's hard to word that well. If I'm thinking about a bunch of different things, past, present, future, whatever it is, and then I'm trying to also judge something, I kind of come at it with a cloudy perspective because I'm thinking about other things. I'm not fully engaged in it. But if my awareness is there, there's that presence and peace of mind that comes with it, and you can make a clear decision. Informed opinion.
I think it's more not about the words, it's about the essence. And I don't think it's something that you can convey. I think it's just something that you have to experience.
What, the awareness?
To truly, grasp, understanding, and be able to apply it.
Kind of like what you were saying on the way here in the car. So if we said, define awareness to somebody who's never felt it, you can't do that. They have to feel it. You can't describe that.
It's true.
You can try, but it won't mean anything to them.
Right.
There's that thing where it's a wise person tries to pass on his wisdom. It usually never works because wisdom can't be, it has to be experienced. It can't be like learned. Same exact thing. So he'll talk until he's blue in the face, and you're gonna think, whatever you're saying is great, but I'm not gonna do it anyway. And then you make a mistake, and you realize, oh.
So true.
Actually, it's, I think, yeah,
Not always, but
rare
why?
times like people learn from others' mistakes also, right?
Yeah.
Very rarely.
Yeah.
I think one way to kind of help someone see awareness, I don't know, back in college, I had a class, a philosophy class, where it was kind of about awareness. And you were told to, like, be watching yourself from outside of yourself. And like, but still kind of be in yourself and know what you're thinking and know what you're doing. But be able to step back and watch you and watch everything else. And so that's kind of, I guess, some way to explain awareness. Just get out of your little train of thought and to see the bigger picture and still.
The knower and the known.
What was that?
The knower and the known.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe, yeah.
We have to define things because it might not be a ubiquitous term.
Well, the knower and the known is like, I don't think I'm the best to define that. If someone else can take that, please.
Well,
The knower and the known.
Sounds like deep.
It is. That's why I'm not the best to.
One way to really, I would say, simplify is there's something that's observing things, and there's something that's experiencing things. So there's one part of you that's always just a subject, and always just here, and it's seeing things, and it's the subject of the, it is the subject, and then there's many other things that are objects of experience. So those are the known, and the knower is something that's observing that field. That's one way of, I think, defining that.
That's when you can truly kind of sit back and play with the forms of life.
Right.
Yeah. Exactly.
what does that mean?
So when you recognize that there's these two, one the observer and one the experiencer, then the observer can then sit back and play with the forms of life, whatever comes to experience.
Is it observers are one and the same.
In a way, but then like
It depends on your awareness.
yeah.
If you're fully aware, then both are one and the same.
Exactly.
Then I don't understand how they are different otherwise.
It's just a concept. So, one thing I like, because we're going exactly where, into each topic that I was thinking about discussing today, and it's amazing actually how this is happening. It's just beautifully flowing, and this awareness, as we're talking about awareness, it really does influence what we're doing. Like it doesn't even just influence ourselves. I mean, it experiences who we, our beliefs. Like think about it. Like you might believe something, but when you're in that moment, like really alert, really aware, you're open, you're vulnerable, you're willing to accept reality. So what you think you know, and what reality is, are always going to be, there's something new every second that you don't know. That's what reality is. The present moment is a gift. That's why it's called the present moment, because it's always giving you something new. And like when we're vulnerable to that,
That's when you can accept it.
yeah, you can acknowledge things and learn, and it's a really beautiful thing. And so like when we have like, this is one thing and this is another thing, well, do we know those things yet? Do we ever really know those things? And I think awareness is something that can help us, literally it changes the world. With the amount of awareness you have in that moment, you will see things a different way. Like one person might see something as really a negative thing, and with more awareness, that thing might be beautiful for them. Have you guys had that experience? So one thing I wanted to go with today is I think everyone here has this experience of awareness. For me personally, it's been something that it's been like a big part of my life, is cultivating awareness. And I've done it in a very unaware state most of my life. Trying to control awareness, which is kind of funny, right? But I've been lusting after awareness, almost. Yeah. And I know that won't work from personal experience. But it is something that can very much be cultivated. And there's so many ways to do it, but I felt like before we really get into the discussion, we should all have some experience that helps increase our awareness. And I was wondering if you guys were open to doing a meditation, just a short meditation. Yeah.
I'm
Awesome.
totally against any meditation.
Cool. Okay, so before we do this meditation, I think most people here are probably gonna know about this, but I just want to talk about how you can cultivate awareness in a way that is somewhat tangible. So our bodies are like capacitors, literally, like the cells in our body, even water itself has the ability to retain energy. And I got something just to show everyone, and I think most people have seen it, but for those that haven't, it's just a short little 2-minute clip. I don't even want to show you the whole thing, but there's a deep secret, a deep universal secret that's in this video. And I mean, seriously, like this video, if you can understand this, I think this one concept changed everything for me. I don't know if you guys have ever seen this. It's called cymatics. So you can see this is a low frequency, and look at the structure. Can you notice what's happening? Now this structure is increasing its frequency. Watch the structure.
What exactly are those particles?
It's just, this is just sand on a vibrating surface.
Have you seen Emoto's
Wow.
water states?
Yeah.
Are you serious?
And I'm gonna kind of talk about that, right?
That's just the sound that's creating the pictures.
Right?
The sound vibrates in the spots.
It's perfect.
Spots in it.
Okay, what's happening to this structure? Is it becoming more complex or less complex?
More complex. The higher pitch, the more complex.
Right.
There's more
Okay.
synergy.
So,
Oh, because in higher pitch, more energy it takes.
yeah, well, there's a connection between frequency and structure. Frequency literally equals structure anywhere in the universe. And I mean, I don't know, anywhere in the physical universe for sure. And
Oh no, in the universe, I was watching something about that same thing. The lowest sound comes from a universe sound, like it's lower than any sound a human can hear. It's like 57 decibels or something, like very low. But basically it was saying that sound is universal even in space, like the energy that the space creates, even if it's even in the vacuum of space, there's still the smallest amount of non-vacuum. That's how the sound travels, and they're able to record it through their probes or whatever. And like it was basically almost, like not really that detailed, but like it was showing that like the basic sounds and like hyperbole is made from the sounds, like the structure is created basically. But yeah, basically anywhere in space, anywhere in the universe, that's what it would come.
So one of the coolest things is all organic systems reflect the frequency of their environment. Like, and we all know that, like, we're all studying naturopathy, so we know that environment does have a big effect on our health. Like, we know the effect of epigenetics, and essentially everything's a frequency.
I don't know epigenetics.
Okay, so epigenetics is the study of what can control the genes. Epi means above, genes. So factors like food, factors like all environmental things, environmental toxins, emotions, even radiation, the way it can affect our genetics.
All right.
And
Also your parents, grandparents, their choices affect you.
right.
Their choices.
So for example, you might have, your parents might have certain genes, right, in their chromosomes, stuff like that they passed on to you. But before they had you, they got it from their parents, right? And the genes you can't change. That's what we used to believe. Then that was genetics. Then epigenetics is saying that we're finding that if you live a certain way, over time you change the chromosome, you change the expression of the gene.
So you don't have to pass on the bad genes to your kids?
They can pass it on,
There's no bad.
but it'll be changed, it'll be altered. So this won't happen.
There's not really any good or bad. The way sort of epigenetics, as I understand it, is so we have all these genes, and what decides whether that little sheath comes off and it gets expressed, or whether it stays on and it doesn't get expressed? They don't know what that is. That's the universe. That's the divine. Whether what that says comes off or on, but you can go back like 4 generations back, like and have a separation from God. For whatever reason, they went through the Great Depression or war, and they just lost their faith. And that can manifest, 4 to 7 generations in the future. And it might manifest as depression, or it might manifest as something else, but it's actually from genes going back generations.
Wow.
That's epigenetics.
So this principle of frequency equaling structure is a massive, massive thing in health, but just in every aspect. So we're trying to cultivate awareness. And you might ask, does frequency relate to awareness? Well, let me tell you this, and let me see if you think so. Delta waves, that's the lowest frequency, are the wave that your brain produces when you're in the deepest sleep. Theta waves, these are just a little bit above this in terms of frequency. They're also in sleep and in deep meditation. Alpha waves, these are higher frequency waves. These are the common associated mental states. This is what you are normally with your eyes closed, you're at an alpha wave state. Beta state is associated with active awareness. So this is like when you're a baby, most of your life, like when you're taking in a memory, is associated with beta and just physical like alertness. And then gamma is like extremely high mental function. Gamma waves are like associated with information processing. So as we're increasing frequency, and this is just in one like system of the body, we're showing an increase in awareness. But in all over the body, there's a lot of research. There's the research of Emoto with the different water being able to hold structure. You've seen that. But there's much more complex research than that Jared Pollack done. I don't know if you've seen that, where it shows that essentially water even has a fourth phase in the body. Most of water in the body is holding frequencies, and those frequencies they influence every single interaction in the body and a chemical process. So like if you're going to absorb vitamin C, there's like 6,000 different types of vitamin C, and they're all monomers, and they bind with the water. So which one is the enzyme going to have active conformation to be open to? That depends on the water. Like DNA too, B form, A form, like that's mainly due to water. So like your expression has a lot to do with the frequency that you're in. And this is just, now I don't know how much research, maybe someone else can say scientific research, but I do know some research. Dr. Jerry Tennant, Healing is Voltage. He shows that we can actually, there's certain ranges of frequency that we heal at, that we regenerate at. And we can see that with increased frequency in the body, we increase awareness. So just a concept that's throwing out there, there's lots of ways to increase your frequency, okay? Tons. And there's lots of ways to decrease your frequency. But essentially it's like creating a battery charge. If I rub my feet on this ground for a long, long time, I'm going to increase charge that when I go and I touch someone, it's going to shock you.
Yeah.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
What do you mean? You never get
Like
shocked
if
by
I
that?
take,
No, but that is static.
that's
Yeah.
static electricity. But
You
you're,
wouldn't build
Actually,
off
if you
it.
keep rubbing your hands,
Mhm.
like, do you really get that much amount of charge?
yeah, you
I
get
mean,
it
it's
off.
not gonna be like, it's not gonna put you on your butt. It's not gonna shock you till you fall, but like you feel it.
You've seen it though. Like if I take
I feel it all the time.
if
Shock
I
me
take
once.
a balloon in a dark room and I go like this, it's gonna build up charge, and you'll actually see a little.
And it's like very, very minimal amount of charge. Like it's not that.
What? But think about it. What is like? We're talking about forces, electric forces. Or that's more force than the entire gravitational force of the planet. In terms of electrostatic forces, those are extremely strong forces. Yeah, and also like we're talking about not doing this. We're talking about eating healthy. We're talking about retaining energy, not excess talking. We're talking about meditation. We're talking about optimal living. You're building something that your body can store. Your body is a massive capacitor. Water in itself is a massive capacitor. Every cell in your body has a membrane. I did epigenetic research for a while at a lab from Harvard, and one of the things, we don't know what does DNA expression, but we look at the histone structure and the exact things that are interacting there, because that environment essentially is what influences if something can be translated or not, or if DNA is going to, like, what it's going to produce, because there is really no bad or good genes. Like, genes do 1 trillion different things. There's backup systems for everything in the body, and the environment really is what determines that. So it's about changing your environment, but inner environment. Not like, there's ways to, in any system, increase awareness. And that's just what, I just want to throw that concept out there, and now I want us all to experience it. So let's just take a real quick bathroom break, and then we'll come back and we'll do a meditation, and we can get back into this topic. experience it was and their awareness in this moment?
I will, because I've done this meditation before, and I don't think I've ever been able to bring my awareness to the level that I brought it to this time. Like, I usually get to the 3 inches and like, but this time when we did the 3 inches all around, like it's usually, and like, I know it to be only above your head, not all around. So like, when I did all around, like I really, like I seen the aura around me. And then when we brought our attention to the heat of everybody, it was like red blobs. Like I don't know how else to explain it, but like I felt everybody else around me. Like, and like I said, I've done this meditation probably like 10 times or more, and I've never gotten to that level of awareness, honestly. Like, and it was awesome. It felt great. Like it really, like everybody's. It was amazing.
They're all vibrating at a really high frequency.
Yeah. It was a great feeling.
Yeah, I went through that 3 inches and further than 3 feet.
That's sweet.
Some things make more sense when you are in this space, like I thought I feel. As like when you speak something and it doesn't resonate with you, although you know it is true at some deep level, but when you are in this state of mind, somehow you don't need any proof to accept few things, right? Few things like there is no logic to explain them, but deep inside you feel that they are right. I can't think of any example, but I feel that, and I have a good meditation.
Yeah. I agree. Yeah, there's some things you can't experience by yourself, or you can't experience it, like, even in any other group, but when you're in this space together, you experience things that you would never experience before. Yeah, I definitely agree to that.
Okay, so I'm gonna interpret my perception. When you started bringing the awareness, like after we did the 3 feet thing, and then bring the awareness to like each other and the heat that we're all giving off, everything was like tilted this way. Was it me?
That's awesome. Like the fact that you were aware of it, like that's the amazing part. Like that you can have your awareness that deep to even see that everybody's not like I don't know if that can be interpreted by anyone but yourself maybe, but like the fact that you got to that level of awareness is amazing.
Yeah, thank you for that.
Maybe it was like you were listening to Bryce,
Yeah, and then this foot was under this foot, so this was a little higher.
or you were off.
The energy was like all like this way. Yeah.
Maybe you just skewed.
I know, that's what I'm thinking. I was thinking about the importance of making everything vertical. And that thought was like, that's going to be challenging.
Balance worked.
Biology works.
Sorry guys, I need to take you.
Okay, see you.
Yeah.
Okay.
See you guys soon. Yeah.
So, see you
I was
next
out
time.
here.
Good night.
Have a beautiful evening.
Take care. Cool.
There's no hope.
And are you driving?
I don't know yet.
It's okay, I struggled with
I'll text you and let you
the
know.
things, so you're harder than me.
Okay, sweet.
I could, oh yeah, I don't do that. I can't really do that whole body.
So what did you feel then when you did the 3 inches? Did you feel it?
Not so much. I like finally got the one point, and then you said do your whole body. I'm like, oh, I don't know.
It's hard, huh?
It was.
That's a process.
It was something to think, yeah. I know.
getting way aware of like my heartbeat, like the rhythm of the heartbeat,
Oh, for
like
sure.
energetically, everything goes like up and down, up and down. Yeah.
Connection to the pulse of the universe.
Oh, is that what that is?
So, one of the themes of this conversation, just to take it there and see what we all think about it, is purpose. So we all have all these things that we prescribe meaning to, and we define everything in our lives. We define, for us to do things, we have to think it's meaningful. Like seriously, like even on a very unconscious subtle level, your body wouldn't take a step forward if it didn't think it's meaningful,
Right.
or if it didn't have faith that if it takes a step forward, it's not going to be the end of your life. Which, from a looking at the way the body works on a physical, like physics level, everything's theoretical, but the body doesn't think about it like that. The body, the body is very beautiful in the sense that it is just working on your awareness, and it's constantly serving you. But your awareness is so critical for every little action you do. And I think we've all seen a lot of people who they're always like, oh my God, I'm going to do this. I just got the most brilliant idea. And they have really great ideas. And they're always saying, I'm going to do this. But then they might do it for a couple of days, and then what happened? It just pans out. Or like there's a lot of things where like we make a decision, but that might not be the ultimate truth for us. And then 2 weeks later, we realize there's more to that. So the purpose in your life, can you really know it with a limited awareness? Can you really know exactly what your purpose is today?
You can only know your purpose today, right now. Like you can only know, I can know my purpose for this moment. I can know my purpose for the present. My purpose might change when I get older, for the future.
It might change tomorrow.
It's good future.
Because my purpose has changed in like, and unexpectedly, like when I first went back to school, I was a commodities broker. I used to sell commodities, gold and corn, like oil futures. It's basically a rich man's game. It's like rich people can change their net worths, like millions basically. But it's not for anyone that has less than $10,000 to lose. So although I was making money, I wasn't satisfied. So I thought the way to be satisfied is to help people that actually need money, like because I grew up poor, so the people that I knew in life, like that were friends with me, like were not in commodities at all. And like even if I talked to them and told them how much money I made, like they'd be like, oh, what can I do? Can I get like let me get into this? And you can't really put somebody into commodities because the risk level is not what they can handle. So my goal was to become a certified financial planner, which I needed to go back to school for, and you needed a degree in finance. So I went to school for finance, and that was my goal. And like nothing could change me, nothing was like my goal was to get a degree in finance. Well, I still want finance as my background, but like I found out more about life and about the world and how much there's a need for an earth to live in before people need money to spend in an earth that may not exist. So I changed my direction to sustainability to help there be an earth for people to have money to invest in and have a future. So, and then after meditating, which happened right 9 months ago, and it happened about 3 months after I started meditating, it just came to me that a way to stop off global warming and climate change and stop destroying the earth is to stop chopping down trees. And the way to stop that chopping down trees is an alternative. An alternative is hemp. And this came to me, like, I wasn't even, like, hemp was the furthest thing on my mind. Like, it wasn't even on my mind. It literally came to me in a thought after meditation. Like, my brain was clear, and like all of a sudden hemp was an idea.
What's
And
that?
then
It's like the opposite of harp.
hemp is a plant that has over 10,000 uses. It's just one of the, it's like, it has 4 times the amount of pulp made for paper that trees do. And you don't need the harsh chemicals to remove the pulp from hemp. Tree pulp there's the least amount of pulp per tree basically. And trees take 20 to 30 years to grow, where hemp takes 9 months to grow. And hemp takes little pesticides and little fertilizer. It grows basically like a weed anywhere. And and hemp is a viable alternative for fuel. Like, we're trying to extract ethanol from corn, which takes up lots of food, away from food farmland, and because the ethanol is more expensive, farmers are growing corn for ethanol, which takes all of that farmland away from food that can be grown. Hemp can be grown on alternatives. There's a million things. Basically, the point is the change in my life, and how things can change. And like, even if you have a path, like you guys are all in med school, like you're all going to be doctors, but like, and you all kind of have a direction of what kind of doctors you want to be, but you never know when it's going to change. Like you might just see, like, for some reason something come to you and you change like the type of doctor you're going to be because you want to help cancer, anything. Who knows what it's going to be? But like, being open to that and being able to decide that like you can do, like, you're not messing up your whole life. You didn't throw away all your med school because like you had this other idea that no longer requires med school. But you're like, without that, you might not have that idea. But like, so I don't think anyone's doing anything wrong. You just have to be able to be aware. That's I guess it all goes back to awareness. Like, because like if I wasn't aware, maybe I would have stayed on my path of finance as my degree, and then still been a certified financial planner, and then I would have helped people because that was who I am, but I might not have been able to help the world. I feel that I can help the world. 30 million trees are cut down for paper, for books every year. 30 million trees. If I can just make all those books out of hemp paper, that'll save 30 million trees a year.
You
So
can also be like far more productive too if we think about the manifestation of what's going on with our environment and the world. It's a direct reflection of what's going on inside, and you have far more power if you can stop polluting the earth right now. When you stop with toxic thoughts that radiate out, because that is far more damaging than cutting down a tree or whatever. Because that is all of that destruction of just this immense beauty, and we just pollute it with our chemicals and our toxins. But far more damaging is polluting it with toxic thought. Because what I think right now, my thought that's coming across, and I've told you this before, it has a direct reflection on a lake in China. Everything radiates. It's all about energy. And it all flows out. So you can be sustainable and stop contributing to the pollution by working on yourself.
See, that's awesome. And see,
where it begins.
that's amazing. Like,
That's where it begins.
and I think without my awareness, I might not even be able to understand what you're saying. But like, I think that's like,
It resonates.
yeah, it's very powerful. It's very like, wow. And it makes a whole bunch of sense, like on every level, like, and like, it's something I can relay that message to people and make actual difference, because that's a message that's easily relayed and something that everybody can work on, even myself.
Everything happens for a reason at the exact moment it's supposed to.
I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't. Like, I came home from school at the moment that he was coming to look at this house. Like, I don't know, like, I forgot something that I needed. I was in between classes. I wasn't, like, you might have not chose this house. I might leave it.
Synchronicity,
Yeah.
when you open yourself up to the flow, then synchronistic events just come into your life. And that's the
That's
beauty of
awesome.
life.
Yeah.
Something that's interesting that, Arthur, you brought it up earlier with your friends, and you were talking, oh, I made this amount of money, and your friend would say, oh, you know, what can I do to get in on that?
Mhm.
And this relates to Tony Robbins' video. So, and it's also, it's kind of Steve Jobs, Tony Robbins kind of thing. So, one mistake that a lot of people make is they chase money, not their passion. So when you think, oh, my friend, my family, or whoever it is, has this great job, and they're making X amount of money, and I'd like to make that amount of money. And you don't know anything about what they do, and you don't even care about what they do, you're not interested in it. But you are interested in the money they're making with that job. So you think, oh, let me do that, because you want that money. And let's say you do get the job, you're going to be miserable making that money, because you're not doing what you want. So in the Tony Robbins video, he talks about, tell me, like, what is your why? And what he means by that is, you have things that push you in life and things that pull you. I think something that pushes you is more like a willpower. And willpower is not great, because willpower doesn't last. If something that you're doing is constantly a struggle, you have to force yourself to do it, eventually you're going to stop doing it. You're going to give up. Pull, though, is what lasts. Pull is your why. What's the reason you're doing what you're doing? So if you have a passion for something, and every day you wake up and you're excited, and it's like a calling, I have to do this, I'm getting pulled toward it, it's easy, you just do it. When you're really good at something, the money comes. You could be any job you could think of, somebody's a millionaire doing that job, because they're so passionate at it and they're so good at it. You know, the best plumber in the world is a multimillionaire. Why? Because he's so good that everybody wants him. The best electricians in the world are very successful. Why? Because all the top companies know this guy does an amazing job, and yet he gives his own touch, and whatever job it is, no matter what you do, if you're really good at it and you're passionate about it, you're going to constantly try to challenge yourself and grow and expand, and your money's going to come. So that should be the last thing that somebody's going to.
Yeah, and like, it's funny that you say, like, it's a coincidence, I don't know. But like, I used to think what you were saying about chasing the money, like always I had to be rich, like I didn't want to be like my mom, I didn't want to be struggling, like, or I grew up, my room was the living room couch, like my brother shared a bedroom. Like, so I didn't ever want that, ever again. So my drive was for the money, but now I realize that you can be rich without the money. You really, like, riches inside of you. Rich isn't rich is not the amount of money you make. It's like, I don't want to struggle still like that, and I don't think I will ever struggle because of my knowledge, like, and because of, like, I know that rich is inside of you now. Like, but up until recently, I still was chasing the money. Like, it was all about making money. Like, that was like, you know, those boards that you make, the gratitude boards or the wish boards, like, make money was on my wish board. That's what I was driven for. But now I see that money, like you said, money will come whatever you do, as long as you put in your effort 100%. And like beyond that, like, money is just a byproduct of being rich. Rich isn't about how much money you have. Rich is about how much love you have, how much you put down.
And the more you give, the more you get.
Yeah.
The more you're putting out, the more comes back to you.
Exactly.
I remember Jamil and Reed, you told me, I think it was like last quarter, I think, that what separates a successful person from an unsuccessful person, and the successful person or the rich person, whatever, the millionaires, billionaires, they're the ones who tend to help and touch the lives of more people. You know, and that's a perfect example of, you know, the more you give, the more you get back. And it's pretty amazing just hearing everybody talk. And you know, bottom line, when you talk about purpose, it's, you know, nothing matters besides the progression of the soul. You know, and it's like all things of matter. You know, they don't matter. You know, but including the physical body. But again, they do matter at the same time if we use that, you know, to aid in the eternal purpose. You know, the divine Creator's goal. You know, which is to become united. You know, with the Creator, with that infinite light. But again, that starts on a very finite, you know, minute level, starting with us, the human, you know, the human. And it's just pretty amazing to know that once we're in that silence, you know, once we have that gratitude, that's when, you know, newer and higher levels of understanding, you know, actually come to us. And from there, it's like, man, once that understanding comes, we have that knowing, you know, what we talked about earlier. And, you know, what we don't know, you know, we don't respect. And what we don't use, we abuse. And a lot of the times that involves, you know, our purpose. And that's why a lot of individuals, a lot of people are stuck, and they aren't aware of their purpose. They aren't aware of the light that they need to attain. Yet they don't even care about the need of light because of the purpose. You know, it's lost. And from that eternal purpose, that eternal reason, you know, that's why we're here. You know, so I definitely feel like the main purpose is growth. You know, and that is the purpose. And we do that by touching lives, having hope, gratitude, non-judgment, compassion, all of those things that provide unity. You know, so.
Yeah, totally.
Just one thing more, if you guys want to comment on this. We talked about awareness, we talked about purpose, and we talked about doing things because we recognize that we want to do them. It's not coming from an external source. I'm not doing it because I watched someone else do it, or because someone told me to do it and I'm just following. But like following ourselves. And I wanted to ask you guys in terms of all this, in terms of listening to ourselves, following ourselves, what role do you think awareness plays into that when you're making these decisions? Like, do you feel like when we have enough awareness in that moment, we can actually recognize why we're doing things, and be able to effectively change our actions that can support more of our, you know, innate inspiration?
How can we?
You say what role does awareness
Yeah, I
play?
want to see it, like, maybe let that marinate for a second and see who wants to talk.
Oh, did you?
Me?
I thought you raised your hand.
Oh, no, I'm sorry.
When it comes to awareness, so one big role is this kind of combination of what I said before. So when it comes to you achieving your dreams, let's say following your goals, whatever that is, before you do that, you have to know what they are. And in order to know what they are, you have to ask yourself, what do I want? What am I looking for? What drives me? What would give me that sense of fulfillment, accomplishment, purpose, and all that stuff? And most people, sadly, don't do that. Most people, they just go through life. They know they have things they want. Like you mentioned, you have that board. Let's say it says make more money on it. The issue is that that's not specific. Make more money, I can give you $1, and you just make more money. That's not what you mean, though, right? You mean you have a number in your mind, but you have to make it more concrete. So when somebody says, what do I want? They're bringing more awareness to that moment. And now that awareness will give them the answer they're seeking, and then they can use that information to work and get their goal. Without the awareness, you'll never know what you want, because you're never taking that chance to reflect internally.
piggyback and reflect on that, what I've noticed from awareness, it's in the go against what you said, is that when we're aware, we truly are present, we understand why, we're doing the things that we're doing. And from my personal experience, I feel that awareness, it doesn't involve wanting, it doesn't involve desires, and things of that nature. And I feel that's one of the things that I've learned, that I've grown from, is that it's not so, or here, I guess I'll say it like this, when I look at illusion, we all suffer from it, day by day, and I feel that that illusion that we live in is using the faculties of all of the mind and the six senses to serve oneself rather than to serve the lives of others. And that's where the wanting and that's where the desires and things come in at. Rather, if one was to use his awareness for the better of the progression of the human soul, his brother, his sister, which is all of us right here, I feel that that wanting will diminish and he will or she will understand their purpose, in this life. And I feel that that's what awareness brings, awareness, it brings that sense of motivation, that sense of good intention. It allows you to understand why is it that I'm doing it. The awareness does not involve competition, it's cooperation, and compassion, once you are truly aware of things, you care for them, you love them, it's like having two cups, a plastic cup and a glass cup. If you got a plastic cup and you dropped it, it's like, what's the use? You're not going to care for it. Your awareness is going to sink very, very low. But if you had a glass cup, you'd be more likely to be a little bit more